All right, so this is session 4 of 5 for Masks New Generation. This is part of the Gauntlet Quarterly series that I'm doing, which is games that run through an entire quarter of the calendar. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, just an online gaming community. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. If you check that out, we've got a blog, we've got podcasts, we've got a whole community there. We've got some other things. Oh, we've got the monthly zine that we do. There's lots of great stuff there. This is also part of Rich Rogers' Gauntlet Comics, Gauntlet City Comics, Gauntlet Comics. Essentially, it's a shared universe. Materials and details get shared across. Eventually, I'll get better at working with the wiki that they've got set up for that. It's organized a little oddly than what I'm used to for wiki, so I've got to bear down and get that stuff in there. But all of this will be material for other games. And in fact, I had a couple of ideas this week for adaptation games of other games to superhero stuff that I'm excited about. But right now we're in Masks, one of my favorite things. And we are coming in with our team having come off a victory, I'm going to say with a question mark, last time. And we'll come back to exactly what that means. Gabriel, you weren't here last time. But what I want to do for you is I've got a little... I think they're called love letters, right? Isn't that it? The custom moves in between. Okay. I'm going to put that in the chat there on the group chat. And then I'm going to find the roller. There it is. Okay. Brightly rested boar. So if you would take a look at that.
Okay, so I'll roll.
You will roll.
Haha. Oh, I got an 8.
Okay, so when you take time to adjust to your new body and powers, roll. On a 7 to 9, the combined weirdness of your foster household and recent emotional events makes things difficult. Say that how this affects your settled form and shift labels.
So my household was, I think I had the giant robotic dad and the superpowered mother. They had placed me, the organization had placed me there.
There were a couple of other sort of foster super people who were also in the household that we didn't kind of like define yet, but we know that there are other people there.
So I think I first go back to my foster home, and I am shocked by how they do not recognize me and how different everything seems to be. And how does it affect my form? I think, so the form, my new form is a crystalline form that reflects light. And I think that seems, the form is reflected by the coldness and isolation that I feel within that foster home now.
Yeah, the mom. Let's give her a name. Do you have a superhero name you want to use for this foster mother? Because I don't think we established that yet.
No, like a personal name. I think her name is Sharon.
Okay.
But power-wise, like her superhero name, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, we'll just call her Sharon because I think that works. Essentially, she ends up, I mean, you come back, you say who you are, and, she goes and she calls people. She does, she calls in, the Feet Not Fists group, and she calls some other people up that you weren't clear were involved in this. Like, clearly you're being monitored in some other ways. And it's really uncomfortable. And your robotic father doesn't say much, clearly doesn't recognize you. But he also seems to be having some issues, some sort of breakdown that he's going through right now. So he's not much of a help throughout this.
Almost like he's in trouble with the same organization or something like that as well. Or is it a physical breakdown?
A physical breakdown. When you ask about that, Sharon will say he's having some issues with his internal clock right now, and we're trying to get that fixed. So and this is after she's accepted that you are who you are. It's going to take him a few days. We're going to get some repair people out to see what's going on with that. What labels do you want to shift then, Gabriel?
So it seems like to me that Freak would move up and Mundane would move down.
Can Mundane go to a -3? Can you go to a -3? I don't think so.
Okay. Remind me what Savior and Superior are. Ooh, let's move Danger down.
Okay.
Down, yeah.
All right. So move Danger down and move Freak up.
Yeah, because I feel more isolated.
Okay, that seems fair.
Huh? Okay.
All right. So that's the thing that kind of goes on during the time that they're out. So this is a quick summary of last session. The group, after celebrating after the victory over Bolt, went to the Sky Lounge superhero club that has some teen stuff to it. It's the higher end, shinier superhero club that does have a little like a teens area. And they met Dynamo, who the group had a brief crossover with in a past issue we didn't see, who was part of Break 23, the group that got destroyed by Ghoster. And he had come to Gauntlet City to kind of remake himself and had asked to join up with the group. Despite not remembering Sarah Sparks' name, there was a thing there, and there was some interactions. And let's say that Overclock was not entirely jazzed about the whole thing. An adult hero, Willforce, came over and challenged Sarah about where her grandfather was. The legacy hero, not known in the public, but known somewhat in some of the superhero circles, and mentioned that Dame Canada was becoming, more and more of a problem. The couple of the group then got in trouble with their parents, or had some trouble with their parents. Mimic went home after her particular lie that she was used to covering being out late fell through. And Overclock had a weird conversation with his mom that he then went home and had some weird incidents with his family not remembering exactly what day it was, and a calendar not kind of coming into focus. But he then received a call from Dr. Allset, who was kind enough to tell him that there were some other mercenaries that had been hired to hunt him down, like this asphyxia person. And it gave him a name, Eduardo Perillo, but didn't say what was up with that. Mimic had a conversation with her mom about that, and certainly got guilted pretty heavily. And Dynamo also, we got to see a window into his life. Because he and his family have no money. He and his dad, when Ghoster eliminated their identities and all the electronic stuff, they destroyed all of his accounts. So he and his dad are quietly living in a motel, and not a good motel in town. But his dad was very excited about him potentially joining the team. Then the next day, Sarah wanted to follow up on Dame Canada. And create a device to try and find some of the dimensional signature that Dame Canada might have provided, might be an indicator of where she's operated out of. The group went, located a place, broke in. There was a little bit of a tip off, maybe a slight mistake in the operational definitions. Mimic made a small error. They didn't see Dame Canada, but they saw another supervillain named La Espada and some civilians. At that point, once they were alerted that they're civilians, Sarah had the group stand down to be careful to move in with caution. Dynamo did not listen and charged in and began a fight. Eventually, through the course of the fight, we discovered that these civilians there were in fact people, immigrants, possibly illegal immigrants, possibly refugees who were hiding from an immigration raid, and they began to scatter. La Espada, the woman with the sword, got taken out, but kind of played possum and popped out to escape through a portal. And the other villain that was there was this figure, Rampage, tall, monstrous-looking character who threw Dynamo through the building, and then got thrown outside into the parking lot by Overclock. Overclock went down to challenge her, even as the police were rolling up, and Mimic and Sarah were concerned about how can we make sure that they don't see these people, these civilians. Sarah protected some of the police. The group finally kind of got their act together, and they all went in to take down Rampage. And Rampage said to Mimic during the course of this that, like her, she used to be able to change back, which kind of threw Mimic off. But overclocked, and they took out and dropped Rampage, but not without cost, because Sarah Sparks got KO'd in that. However, in the end, the police didn't realize what had happened. They didn't realize that there had been anybody else on site. They didn't know anything about La Espada. They thought that the team had just fought Rampage. The group gathered together. They fell back, and Sarah Sparks read Dynamo the Riot Act at the end of that. Did I leave off anything else? Any other important details there?
The internal gloating of Overclock.
There was a little bit of gloating from Overclock when Dynamo got his comeuppance.
Yeah, and Sarah seemed to have a bit of a concussion.
Yes. Yeah, because she she was dancing around and took that solid hit from a real powerhouse tank there. So what I want to talk about today, before we actually kind of get rolling into this, we've got a couple sessions left. And we've got some things on the table. I want to go around and see if there's anything in these sessions that we have that you definitely like. I want to get this scene, or I want to do this thing, or I want to face this thing. I want to pull on this thread. And let me start with you, Overclock.
I would love to get a chance to tick up that Doom track a little bit.
Okay.
I've got that one Doom move, the dark visions, and I might want to maybe pull that in, maybe in an attempt to help track Dame Canada.
Okay.
And maybe burn up that Doom track a little bit. See how far I can get that clipped up in the couple of sessions we've got.
Okay. And what about you, Mimic?
Yeah, I'm mostly interested in, I think a couple of, I would love to have an out of costume confrontation, possibly with Janine, my best friend, who obviously hates my caped self. I think that would be interesting. At this point, Mimic is pretty tired of her anti-cape, anti-mimic thing, especially with how she treated Gabriel a couple sessions ago.
Okay.
So that's interesting. And then I would be very interested if either my mom or Janine were in danger during some type of confrontation over the next couple of sessions, where I would have to potentially protect them, potentially reveal who I am, something, who knows. But that would be interesting to me.
Yeah, because you've got a great move for that, and we haven't had a chance to pull that out on the table.
Yeah, I'd love to see it in action.
Q, what about you?
I was thinking So plot-wise, I'd kind of like to see more from the people who sent me. I think his name was David.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to see more from, maybe some direction, or have that tie into the rest of the group or the rest of the threat at some point. And I also would like to see a little bit more emotional connection to the rest of the group, almost like an acceptance, or, almost, I don't know, a familiar relationship. I like to develop my relationships with the rest of the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Sarah, what about you?
Okay, I'd like to see a little more resolution on the Empyreonics stuff before we move on to the next sort of story arc, and I want Sarah to have a bit of a confrontation with her mother when she comes back from this fight, and possibly have Night Terror. It seems like it might be about time for him to get out of prison.
Yeah, one of the things I was thinking at this, in terms of the structure of this, we might want to, in terms of the villains that we're kind of looking on. Now that we know that there are other villains from Empyreonics, we know that all sets involved with that, something like that. Definitely want to lean into that. We may put Dame Canada a little bit more to the back, for next month, and then we can kind of tie your father into that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility that I'll switch characters, since there's going to be a whole new set of players, and plot-wise, I don't see Sarah Sparks abandoning the team, but I've got an idea for a new character that sort of has ties to the ongoing stuff.
Okay, that's up to you. My only fear that if you do that is that we're not going to get through the stuff that you set up for Sarah, because I don't know if we can get through everything in the 2 sessions.
Right. Right. Okay. I mean, we'll see what the state of play is.
Okay. No, I think that's fair. What then I want to do is, I want to do a scene. I want to do a once around with each of you, in that same order I just called, and it can either be an immediate, or sometime down the road, or I just want to know kind of what you're doing. Or if there's a particular scene you want with another character or with an NPC, we can do that. And then once we've done that sort of once around, then we'll bring the group together to consult. Does that seem okay? Overclock. This is in the wake of the fight there with Rampage, and you're feeling pretty good about things. But you've also got this stuff looming over you. So what would you do?
I think first off, once he's made sure that Sarah's going to be okay after that serious hit, I think he's going to try to head back to his sanctuary and see if he can figure out what if there's anything he can do to figure out what's going on with these weird time anomalies that keep showing up.
Let me take a look here. Let's grab the sheet there. So what do you think? Do you want to do? Do you want to do this as an assess the situation? Do you want to do this as an unleash your powers? What do you think?
Well, I've got the doom sign, Dark Visions.
Okay.
So I think I'd like to take advantage of that. Which lets me, that move lets me mark my doom track to have a vision about the situation at hand. After the vision, ask the GM a question, and they will answer it honestly.
All right. So go ahead and mark that. And what is the situation you want to know about?
I think he is going to focus on the time anomalies.
So what does your vision stuff look like? Like how is it that this vision works? Is it a tapping into the chrono stream? Is it just a mental thing? It's the day and nights. How do you imagine that is?
What I imagine is happening is, from his perspective, he thinks about it like jacking into the Matrix, because that's his frame of reference for what he's doing. like the movie The Matrix, where they jack in, they sort of upload their consciousness, and that's the way he's thinking about it. That's the way his brain interprets what's going on. But really, it's him basically tapping into the Imperionics' chronological data stream, and he's an unauthorized user, which is what makes it a dark vision as opposed to actually something really positive. So,
and I think you will reach into that, and you will have that sort of shifting as that image shifts, and you get that vision of your the chrono base, the essentially that observatory, that thing that was sent back here by the Imperionics, right? The forward base for his operations back here, and the sense that it didn't quite land right. Like, it's kind of slightly untethered from this. And you will see that there are crackles out from that there are other distortions in the time stream here, and things that are gathering around that. And, you know, in the vision, you will see that chrono stream, you know, kind of wafting out, and you will see it hitting, and you'll have a vision of that moment when Gabriel woke up in the museum, that it clearly wasn't the alien fight, but it clearly was that chrono stream that actually, that whole disruption that activated him, her, it, them. And you'll also see that figure asphyxia, and you can see that figure asphyxia standing with another figure that kind of swirl around, and you'll see sort of three shadows, like these are the others that have been called down by Imperionics. But it's not just one person that you're seeing. Like, these three figures, like, they switch between, like they're short and tall, and they kind of switch around. It's very strange. You're not sure what's going on with that. And then you'll also see, sort of moving around in the background of all this, you will see Dr. Allset's face swirling around in back behind all of this. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair. Okay.
What's your question?
My question would be, what steps can I take to stabilize the sanctuary such that it will stop shooting off these little temporal distortions?
Well, here's the thing: is I think you know exactly what that is. So I'm not going to answer that question, because I think you know in your heart of hearts what has to be done, my doomed friend.
Yes.
But I'll let you ask another question.
What would be a where will the next distortion pop up? One of these dangerous bounty hunter types.
I think you will get a brief vision of. Oh, no, let me start. I have to tell you honestly. The next bounty hunter will be contacting Bolt here very soon. Does that seem like a specific enough thing?
That seems very specific enough. Thank you.
Okay. So let's come to Mimic. Do you have a scene you want to do, a thing you want to do?
I'm thinking I could probably get one of those things I talked about earlier out of the way real quick.
Absolutely.
Right here.
Let's do that.
what I'm imagining is, this is right after the incident. If you recall, I had snuck out of the house by locking myself in my room and saying I was doing homework, and I melded through the wall and popped out and went on my merry way. So I'm imagining, I come back, I get into my room, and I'm like just putting my, my costume away when maybe my mom tells me that Janine is dropping by or something like that.
Yeah, and she does it in that way where she says, that the subtext of this, she says, Janine's here. You can hear her say,
Mm-hmm.
The subtext is, you need to talk to her.
Mm-hmm. I guess I open up my door. I have just packed away my my costume in my closet, and I'm coming out my room at this point.
And she's come over to your house quite a bit. She's very welcome here, like your friends do. Where your mom has told her essentially go. You can go sit in the TV room, and she's in there on her phone. And she's like, hey
Janine, how are you doing?
Okay. Missed you yesterday.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Your mom said you were working or something?
Yeah, bunch of stuff happening. Working hard and lots going on.
You okay?
Been better, but I'm okay. I'm just getting by, teenage stuff.
And she does that thing where she kind of looks at you and is trying to read you, but you kind of got that mask that you keep up. Mm-hmm. And she'll say, so you want to do something today?
I think it's almost like you kind of see on Mimic's face like an almost instant reaction of like, okay, yeah, but then it kind of clouds over and it's like, we need to talk about something first. It's like, you remember the other day when I wasn't able to come with you and Gabriel was right there? I remember I talked to Gabriel afterwards, and stuff you said and did made Gabriel feel really bad about themselves. Why did you treat them like that?
And she comes right back at you. She goes, well, you know how I feel about those people. You know what they did to my family. And you just put me there in front of them and then walk off? What am I supposed to do? I mean, how could you do that to me?
I think Mimic doesn't quite know how to, or Allie at this point doesn't quite know how to respond to that. It was like, I thought you were more understanding and like a better person than that. I get being angry maybe at one particular person if they wronged you, but like Gabriel's never done anything to you. Like you're just treating him terrible for no reason.
All these people do is destroy things. I mean, you have this, your mom's here and, you've got the house you grew up in, and you've got your brother here, but, we're still trying to deal with the medical. And I don't know if we're going to be in that house for much longer. My dad won't even talk to me about that. I don't even know if I'm going to get to go to school anymore. I know we're paid through this semester, but then it's all over. And I don't know if I care anymore. I have to look at those masks. I want to go somewhere where there aren't any.
I think Allie's voice gets kind of quiet and just says, did you ever think that they are just people trying to do their best, and yeah, they make mistakes sometimes, and yeah, it's messed up, but they're people. It's like, what would you do if you found out that I was one of them?
All right. What are you trying to get her to say?
I'm honestly just trying to get any kind of reaction here. Okay. I'm trying to know if she's going to like.
Do you think you're piercing the mask?
I think so. Probably. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm trying to really dig deep into what's going on in her brain at this point. So yeah, let's do that. Just looking at the move real quick. Let's see, Pierce the Mask is plus mundane.
Mundane.
All right, let's roll that. Six plus my mundane is 1, so that's a 7.
That is a 7. That is just barely on that one.
Yeah, okay.
I had delicious hard moves in my but
yeah, I bet you did. Let's see.
What's the question?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'd like to know, the question I'll use, and I'll kind of frame it in a particular way, is what do you intend to do? And I'm really trying to see right now, is this something that she is like so set on that like there's no changing her mind, or is it something that she's actually willing to kind of move past or not? You know, I'm trying to basically I'm trying to decide if I can continue this friendship at this point.
I will point back to the moment, an in-game moment, where when she and Gabriel had that conversation, that it wasn't that she like directly blew Gabriel off. It was that she pushed Gabriel back, but also felt bad about it. Like clearly felt bad that she couldn't overcome her own reactions. To do that. Like the part of the reason she's coming back at you so hard is because she feels incredibly guilty about that thing with Gabriel, but she can't admit that.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah. Like I think that kind of takes the anger out of Allie in a little bit, and you see her kind of like deflate a little bit, but I think she's still ready to put a hard line on this and says, "Well, I have to tell you that Gabriel is my friend. That's not going to change. It's like if you can, find it in you to see other people that haven't hurt you, they haven't done anything to you. You can see them as actual human beings and treat them that way, then we could still be friends. But right now, I think I need a little bit of space. It's like, I think we both need time to think about this. It's like I got to go to bed. I'm going to go.
She stands up and she says, when Nancy Palomi, when she started teasing you in 7th grade, we were all friends, and you said you didn't want to be friends with Nancy Palomi anymore, and that you didn't want to deal with her, even though she was my friend and had been my friend even longer. I said, okay. And we were all still friends, but, I didn't make you do anything with Nancy, and and she gets her stuff up in her phone and she goes, I've got to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At this point, I'm going to let her go.
Okay. And I don't think she pushed on any of your labels there, but I think that was painful for you a little bit there.
Yeah. I think Mimic is kind of starting to really just not be okay tolerating the people around her and their prejudices. Yeah.
Especially if you ever get stuck in that full transform state.
That would be interesting.
Anyway, so let's come to Gabriel. You see the stuff in the news about the group and the new member Dynamo battling against this Rampage character, and this is in the wake of the stuff at the house. So what will we see you do?
So I think I've been out of commission for this period of time because I think they've been interviewing me, talking about stuff, and I'm ready to go back to school. I had a little bit of interaction with the team after the big fight, and talked to them a little bit. So I think I want to go back and talk to them again.
Okay.
I've talked to Sarah. I think she's fine. but I don't know. I could probably text either Overclock or Mimic.
I know you had a conversation with Mimic about what went on with her friend Janine, so maybe we want to do a conversation with Overclock?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, we haven't done that particular combo there. So Overclock, as your dark visions fade, your phone rings. What is Gabriel's ringtone on your phone?
Let's see. I think as a call, it is. It's probably something that it sounds like a little cutesy and kid-like.
Okay.
So it's like it sounds like a happy kid soundtrack, like do 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 do, something like that.
Yeah. Even as the darkness fades from your visions, you will hear do 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 do.
And I think the picture that comes up is like a character from like one of the My Little Pony things, like one of the really bright, colorful, shiny ponies.
Okay.
From the Friendship is Magic thing, because Gabriel picked out that photo.
Yeah. So you can talk with Gabriel.
Hey Gabriel, what's going on? You okay?
Yes, I'm doing adequate. I've been talking with many of the others, and they have released me, and I wanted to talk to you about the rest of the group. Do you have some time?
Sure. I think so. Let's see. You want to meet somewhere? Like maybe our favorite rooftop?
Yes, that would be great. I will see you there in 5.
Might take me a little bit longer than 5. I'm feeling a little out of sorts. It might take me a few more minutes than that. Maybe 15.
That's fine. I don't mind waiting.
Okay. And Gabriel, Will hangs up and he blinks a little while because he's still got that sort of after vision effect.
Mm-hmm.
And he's slowly getting up out of the chair that he uses there at the sanctuary to do that. And he suits up. And I think this time the suit, when he activates it, like I think it is a little more recalcitrant about activating, since his doom track is clicking up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being a little difficult, but he shrugs a little and shakes it out, and then finally he armors up and then steps through his little teleportation, his little port gate, and zaps him onto the rooftop.
Okay.
I think so with Gabriel. I think Gabriel was at home, and he goes to leave, and he doesn't. He walks through the room, through the living room where his mom and dad are, and his dad, I think, is sitting almost as if he's watching television, but he's so motionless. Maybe he's not functioning at this point. He's resting or something. But as he goes to walk out the door, you see, in the back of the panel, you see Gabriel's mom kind of look at him, like, what are you doing now? But not say anything. And then Gabriel stops by the coat rack that's next to the door. And he takes a coat off and a hat off, like a trench coat, like a long coat, and puts it on so that he's not as shiny and obvious. And then walks out of the room, pulls the hat down a little bit, and then heads out of the room.
Is it the classic like Marvel character thing where when they put a hat and a trench coat on, nobody can tell that they're actually, or is it still obvious to the people around that there's something weird about you?
I think that I think Gabriel now looks kind of like a creep because you can't see his face. His face is hidden in shadow.
Okay.
So it's, people might shy away for that reason. And if they got to look in the shadow, they would, be surprised by the, face underneath.
Okay.
And he heads towards the rooftop.
Okay. So we'll cut to you arriving. And who gets there first?
I do.
Okay. Do you shed your costume or do you keep that on?
I keep that on until Overclock arrives.
Okay, and he portals on in.
And that's whenever I take off the hat and, look over and say, it's been a trying couple of days. I didn't realize my change would concern my parents so much. They brought in some of the others, and there were a lot of people there talking to me. And they did not understand that I was still me. And I saw some stuff in the news that you had a fight. You and the group had a fight with some others. Is everyone okay?
Mostly. Sarah took a pretty big hit, but she heals quickly. And she seemed like she was basically okay. And she did, obviously, you know how she is about going to the hospital. So she just said she could sleep it off. I hope she was right. She tends to be right about most things, so I didn't really question it too much. But the fight was a little off, I think. I don't think Dynamo was used to the way we do things, and I don't think we were used to the way that Dynamo did things. And it could have gone much worse than it did, though. I think we managed to kind of pull things together there at the end, but it was way more of a mess than I think it would have been if we'd have had the full team together.
Change is inevitable, I have found. And it makes sense that the group has to adapt as people join and leave. How are you doing? Because you seem to have a great deal of issues in that the bounty hunters were after you. Was this another case where bounty hunters were after you, Overclock?
Not that time, but that one of the things I've learned is that I think there's another one coming soon, and I'll try to talk to the whole team about that as soon as we're able to get everybody together. But this time it wasn't me. But I have found out some other stuff about what's going on with that bounty hunter situation, and I think I've got maybe some idea of what I can do to deal with it, at least partially long term. There's some stuff that's just that I'm not going to be able to deal with for a while, but there might be one big thing I can do. But I'm not sure I'm quite ready to do that thing yet. The other thing is there's a lot more going on with the Dame Canada situation than I think we initially thought. Have you talked to Sarah or Mimic about what happened in that situation?
I have not. I have just gotten a chance to stretch my legs, as it were. I don't think my parents trust me, and I think you understand what it's like to be misunderstood, and I wanted to talk to you first. But I can't imagine what it would be like if I was misunderstood and someone was after me like they're after you. You mentioned Dame Canada. In what way is this affecting us?
Well, okay, let me give you the basics of what happened. We were trying to track down Dame Canada after that episode with her theft of those pharmaceuticals a few weeks back. Sarah figured out a way, like Sarah always does, to to track her down, and we tracked her, whatever Sarah was tracking, down to that warehouse where the fight happened. It turned out that for some reason, Dame Canada had a group of immigrants, maybe refugees there, that were, it looked like they were just staying there, but they were also being guarded by two supervillains like La Espada and that Rampage. I think we probably could have defused things, maybe, but I think Dynamo jumped the gun a little bit, and that threw us off kilter. But we still managed to take down Rampage, but La Espada got away. She's a teleporter apparently, and
were the people okay?
Yes, that was I think Mimic and Mimic managed to get them out of the situation while Sarah took out La Espada, I think, and then she helped me and Dynamo take down Rampage, because Rampage was a seriously tough customer. It took all of us to finally get her to stay down for the count. So there's more going on there than just her doing these little random seeming acts of vigilante do-gooderism that she seems to be throwing out there. That there's something deeper there. It looks like she's basically using groups of she was using these disadvantaged groups as almost like a shield of some sort. Like everything she does, it seems like she has some group of innocent civilians designed as some sort of either PR stunt or personal shield or distraction, and that seems to be how she's operating. And so there's a lot more going on there than just her seemingly random acts of stuff. There's some bigger program that we just don't know about yet. But when it comes to your family not trusting you, and at this point, Overclock puts a hand on your shoulder. Welcome to being a real teenager. If your family ever trusts you, you are teenagering wrong.
I think Gabriel just kind of looks and sighs a little bit and says, "Why is growing up so confusing?"
God, if I knew that. I think it's because all the adults are crazy.
Let me ask you a question, Gabriel. Do you think that your action here, your interaction with Overclock, rises to the level of comfort and support?
It could.
That's just a question here, because he does have a couple conditions marked, so I thought I would put that opportunity out there.
Yeah. So let me make a statement, and I will use that. I've got a move that alters comfort and support just a little bit. It's called Thermodynamic Miracle. So what I'm going to say is, Gabriel turns to Overclock and says, "During the fight, I'm very glad that they had you with them, because you are stronger than you know. The disadvantages that you've been through with your powers and being hunted this way show that you are one of the strongest among us. So Thermodynamic Miracle is when you comfort or support someone by telling them what makes them unique. Roll with Freak, and if they open up to you, I shift, and if they don't, I mark a condition."
Okay.
I should point out that you can't shift, so you'll end up marking a condition either way if you use that move.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. So I roll with Freak, and I got an 11.
Okay. So that will work. So you end up shifting your Freak up, and
Which gives me a condition.
Which will mark you a condition.
Right.
And then the comfort and support. They hear you. They can mark potential, clear a condition, or shift labels.
And I get to choose on that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me take a look at my. I think I will. I think I'll clear a condition. I think I will. I'll clear angry.
Okay.
I think that's sort of defusing between last time and hearing Gabriel say that. I think he, like some of that residual frustration is bleeding out of him. He still feels guilty about everything that's going on because he still sees it as all his fault. But he's at least losing the frustration of being more of a tripwire than a help.
And the 10 plus means that you can add teams to the pool, or you could clear a condition, but you just took the condition, so I don't think that's applicable there. So is it okay if we say add a team to the pool?
Mhm.
Okay, so that'll take us to a 2-team pool.
Now, do I need to say something to open up to him? Was that part of it?
No, I think the conversation that you had there opened up.
Okay.
I think we were essentially doing the move to reflect the conversation that we just had here. I want to cut away if I can and go to Sarah's thing. But you had a question before I did that?
I have one quick question for Q. In the crystal form, do you still wear clothes? Like, do you are you just you have a trench coat on and you're a big crystal?
I think I wear clothes just like anyone else would. I look normal. Yeah.
Okay. That was what I was trying to figure out, how to react to that if you were standing there, just this sheer crystal form with a trench coat on. Okay.
Sarah, let's come to you. We've had the situation. You had a fight that went okay, not great. You had one of your team members. It's the first time I've had somebody just not listen to you at all.
Right.
And so how are you feeling? What do we want to see from you here?
Right. Well, I mean, I think I head home, and it's sort of obvious that something has happened. I'm kind of pale and a little bit unsteady, and Sarah is never unsteady. So I think as soon as I walk in, my mom knows that something is wrong.
And she'll say, "Shouldn't be pushing yourself so hard."
Oh, Mom, I'm fine. It's just the team got in a fight, and I got knocked across a parking lot. And I think I'm still a little loopy from the concussion, or I would remember that I haven't actually told her that I've been going out and doing this.
And I think you will see her go pale, and she pretends she didn't hear it. She goes, "Well, I need to go and call in on the cable bill. I need to go do that online and do that payment. I'll be back." And she walks out of the room.
Right. Yeah. As soon as she does that, it's oh crap. I mean, I think I go into the kitchen, and I start making myself some coffee. But my hands are shaking. It's wow. How do you do this when your hands are shaking? I eventually get it done, and I'm sitting down at the table. I've got the cup of coffee, and I've got some cookies, and then I eat a couple of the cookies. I think just as my mom finally comes back, I suddenly get up and I throw up into the sink. Ugh.
And she says, and she picks up the phone and she dials the phone, and she will say on the phone, "Ted, your niece has had an accident and seems to have fallen down. And could you maybe come by and take a look at her?" And okay, thank you, Ted. And she hangs up, puts the phone down, and she says, "Uncle Ted is coming."
Okay. Yeah, and I think when Uncle Ted gets there, he's going to take me into the hospital for an MRI.
Yeah. Uncle Ted arrives. He comes in. He goes to like, hey, how you doing to your mom? And your mom, she's got her hands crossed in that way, and she literally steps back away from him, and she says, your niece is in the kitchen. And Ted comes in and goes, are you okay?
I think so. I sort of glance out into the living room, and I lower my voice a bit. I mean, the team we were fighting Rampage, and she hit me pretty hard.
Rampage is not a slow hitter. Not. All right, you come with me.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We took her down though.
That's great. Let's get you out of here, and let's get you to the hospital right now.
Okay. Yeah.
And he will get you out to the car, and he kind of sits, and he's got very nice car, so he's probably got like a Tesla. And he does the thing where he pushes it and the car starts, but you can't hear it. And he stops and he goes, what did you say to your mom?
I told her that I was doing superhero stuff.
And what did she say?
She didn't say anything. She just called you.
All right. Let's go get you an MRI and get you checked out and all that. And we'll deal with that another day. How does that sound?
Okay.
And you can tell this is not something he actually wants to get involved in. Like
Right.
This is he will take you to the hospital and get you checked out, and you have a mild concussion. It's a combination of stress and the concussion that made you throw up. He will give you some very basic instructions on how to take care of it with the ice pack and so on. And he's like, do you want to stay overnight for observation?
No, I'd rather sleep in my own bed tonight. Thanks, Uncle Ted.
Do you need me to take you back? Do you need me to come in?
No, I'll call an Uber.
Okay. And he will let you go.
Yeah, and I give him a hug.
She kind of made us promise not to bring you in on all this.
Okay. It's tradition, though. You weren't much older than me when you started.
But I had my dad around, and I had my brother as backup.
Yeah, but I've got my team. They're really good. I trust them. And besides, everyone has to start sometime, right? We're doing good. That's. What's the point of having powers if you don't use them to do good, right?
He says, I really think that you should seriously consider putting this off for another few years. I know you think that you're doing good, and I know you are, but there are other things at play here, including your mom and what she's already been through with your dad. I think he is pushing your mundane up and your superior down.
You know, and I think I'm going. I think I'm going to reject the influence because, I mean, my team needs me. He doesn't understand that.
Absolutely. I think that is a reasonable for you to attempt to reject that. So why don't you go ahead and roll with a -2?
Okay, so I rolled a 7, so that becomes a 5.
All right. So I think he definitely pushes your mundane up and your superior down. And I think you need I think you're also going to mark guilty.
Yeah, because I'm going to keep doing the team, but I'm definitely going to feel guilty about it now.
Oh yeah. And when you get back home, your mom has left a note and said that she was called in for an extra shift. So let's do the team like meeting. Does that seem like a reasonable thing to move to? We have a school day the next, a couple of days with the school day, but there needs to be at least a moment when we see the team together. And because the whole secret identities thing, that's really the only way to get all 4 of you together and talking about things. Does that seem fair?
Sure. Okay.
So who calls the meeting? Is it Sarah? Is it someone else?
I think Overclock kind of would probably try and get the team together since he's got that little revelation to share.
Yeah, maybe Sarah, you hesitate for a day or two.
Yeah. It's like I go home, I go to bed, and when I get up, there are like 2 or 3 texts from Overclock. I mean, there's the text calling for a meeting, and then there are a couple more texts saying, "Are you okay?" And
Absolutely.
Right, so,
You should see the number of extra texts he deleted without sending them. The other 23.
Yeah, I mean, I think I get up and I start to set a time for the meeting, and then I say, and then I delete it, and I say, I'm spending the day in bed, but we can have a meeting tomorrow after school.
And so if it's okay with the 4 of you, let's cut to that meeting. Let's cut to the is it the usual rooftop or is it some other place?
Yeah, I think we meet on the rooftop after school.
Okay. A little bit of snow up here, a little bit of ice, maybe some icy rain, but still, there's probably some kind of overhang you guys meet under to talk in costume.
Overclock can just make something.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You can just form up a temporary base for yourselves. And the 4 of you can talk. Overclock, you called the meeting.
I think Overclock, after he set up the little covering, and it's not anything like super special. It's basically like a little alcove, and he sets up like a chair for everybody and like a little TV screen on the inside. And he says, "Okay." He looks at Sarah and says that, remember how I talked with you about figuring stuff out about the bounty hunter things that might be happening? More things like asphyxia?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry I haven't done anything about that. I was planning to investigate, but then this whole thing with Rampage happened, and
no, it's okay. No, it's okay. We got it. You can't you can't do everything. You do so much already. I think I got something on this. And he brings up on the screen. Okay. And it's a picture of Bolt with like lots of really ugly emojis drawn over him and around him. I was able to find out that whoever the next bounty hunter character is, he's going to try and make contact with Bolt. I think word got around about that little confrontation we had with them in the training room. And whoever it is going to try and make contact with Bolt sometime soon. I don't have an exact timetable, but it's probably going to be in the next couple of days. So if we can, we might want to try and maybe keep an eye on Bolt and his team.
Absolutely. This is really good work. And Sarah sounds a little bit surprised.
And I think Overclock is just so jazzed that she said good work that the sort of like the surprise tone washes past him. Like he selective understanding. He says, I wish I was able to get more detail on it, but the way things are going, I think I also have an idea of what I might need to do to deal with some of this other time stuff that might be going on. But I'm going to have to think a little bit more about how to deal with that, because when I deal with it, I think it's going to be big. And more about that later, though. The main thing is we know we've got a short time to keep an eye on Bolt and see if we can catch this new guy before he does anything crazy like asphyxia.
Right. Well, and if we can find out who's contacting, who's hiring him, we can trace that back and get to the root of the problem. Not just react, but act.
That would be good. But if we're right, if Asphyxia was right about being hired directly by the Imperionics, then that might not be
well,
that might not be something we can do. Gosh.
To clarify, you do know that there is a fixer that is doing the arrangements, and you got the name for that, the guy named Syndic.
Okay. And we also have the other name of Eduardo, last name I can't remember.
Perillo.
And he throws those names up on the little screen. We know there's Syndic, we know there's Eduardo Perillo. And of course, he throws up the little screen with the head of Eon and lots of little ugly, angry emojis around that. And then there's this asshole. I'm not sure if he's actually evil, but he is kind of an asshole. And so yeah, that's what I got. That's what I wanted to tell you guys. I know it could. I wish I was able to figure out more, give us a harder timeline to look at, but I'm glad I was able to come up with something. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do that much. So how do we want to do this? I honestly have no idea what Bolt does in his downtime, because he's a jerk and I don't like to hang out anywhere near where he hangs out. So yeah.
What do we know about him out of character? Like what do we know about Bolt? Like
he's a senior. He's considers himself hot shit at the magnet school. He has those 3 people that are kind of his crew. He makes a habit of picking on other kids, Gabriel, and he's smarting from the whooping that you dealt him. He's not. One of the things is that you guys like go to the Sky Lounge because it's kind of the Sarah Sparks. She has a little bit of that sort of hero stuff, so you get in there. But there are other places that teen heroes and non-heroes and stuff hang out as well. So he's probably not one of those kids who goes to the Sky Lounge.
Yeah, he's probably one of the kids who got kicked out of the Sky Lounge. Okay, so, but I've got access to his public social media. I have the powers of Holmesian deduction, so I can probably figure out where he's hanging out.
And honestly, a lot of the places he hangs out is probably somewhere that Will would probably enjoy hanging out, because it probably doesn't play the annoying poppy music that tends to be the formula for the Sky Lounge. But Will's not. They're going to admit that.
Right.
Well, then, how about this? It sounds like we've got a plan on the table to follow Bold. That seems like a course of action that's there. Why don't we take a 6-7 minute break, and when we come back, if there's other things we want to finish from the meeting, we can do that. But then, as soon as that's done, we'll move on to pursuing Bold.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else you want to do with the team meeting, or should I move forward? All right. Mimic. How do you make up for that screw up at the warehouse? While you guys are in costume or out of costume, following Bolt after school, trying to trace his movements. Of what is it? How do you make up for the earlier fiasco?
Yeah, so I think Mimic is definitely feeling the pressure to do so, and I think it's an out of costume thing for her. I think maybe she's kind of like decided she's going to play the the girl that has a crush on an upperclassman that's like some kind of deal, and I think she's gonna just be trying to follow him around that way, trying to get some information. I think she's kind of taking it maybe a little too far, kind of doing a weird stalkerish kind of following. It easily could get caught, but just trying to keep an eye on things and see if she can ferret out who's going to contact Bolt.
Absolutely. I would like you to roll mild-mannered.
Excellent. Let's do it.
It's like a good opportunity to use that move.
Absolutely. That's what I was hoping for. Let's see. All right. Nice. I got rolled a 9, and that's plus mild-mannered is plus...
Mundane.
I'm sorry, which?
Mundane.
Mundane. Perfect. +1, so that's a 10.
So we see on screen you looking clumsy, and the thing is, of course, Bolt, he's an upperclassman, he's a senior, so his eyes like pass over you. Mm-hmm. You don't even register for him.
Perfect.
And especially not after like this is maybe he's out, doing some stuff for about an hour after school, and then he meets up with one of his team, and you'll recognize. You're pretty sure it's the mentalist named Gray. You think that she's also a senior, and they meet up. They're both in civilian clothes, and they talk in a way that is a little more conspiratorial than like boyfriend girlfriend or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Clearly something is up. Before we follow them on, I do want to ask Gabriel. Now, one of the things, of course, was when you changed form, you lost some of your emotional resonance and some of the things like that. But has your interactions with Bolt, have those stayed, or is it just a kind of a blank slate regarding him?
My interaction with Bolt?
Yeah, remember you had some feelings in that. Has that cleared? Is that still the same? What do you think?
So I think that I've learned the lesson from my teammates whenever they had the discussion with me about the way that Bolt treated me. And I think we showed him and the rest of his team. I think that people at school are still trying to adjust to me because I'm significantly taller than I used to be, and I appear male. I appear tough. So I think that they're still trying to feel things out. So I think Bolt's he hasn't been bullying me, of course, but he might be biding his time and seeing what he can get away with.
And what is Gabriel's emotional state towards Bolt? I guess that's sort of what I'm wondering.
So Gabriel is, I think, watching Bolt from the side and kind of enjoying testing those limits, but not being overt. And I think that he's talked with Sarah that he thinks that Bolt couldn't help himself interacting with the previous version of Gabriel. I might make good bait if we want to pull him out. That comes up.
Okay. Yeah. So the four of you will follow Bolt and Gray, and they will head to another part of town. and they will arrive at an area where there's kind of a old underground mall kind of thing, like an actual walk down underground. It was a shelter, a superhero alien invasion shelter at one point, but it got repurposed and gentrified. But then the neighborhood got less gentrified, and so it's not that great an area anymore. And you'll realize that where they are headed is an off-the-grid place called the Backstairs. And it is a bar / gathering point for heroes and villains, vigilantes. I mean, very people on the gray area of it. It's not the complete opposite of the Sky Lounge, but it comes close. There are other sort of ground level, superhero bars, but this place is much more questionable, like, or even actually more no questions asked kind of place. And they go there with a purpose. Tell me, Sarah, what is the bouncer / gatekeeper for this place like?
He's sort of a retired hench thug. He used to be one of those people that more powerful supervillains would hire as minions. So he's like about 6'5" with green scaly skin, and he's sort of got a receding hairline. He's gone a bit flabby now. He's like in his 40s. I mean, he's still pretty strong. He's still pretty tough, but he's not what he once was.
Yeah. And he's sitting on one of those stools. You kind of go to the back part of this mall, and you actually have to walk down these back stairs into what probably once was some storage areas and things like that. And there is this guy perched on this stool outside this door, and that's the place. Now, that he's not going to let just anybody in. He'll let supers in, or people affiliated with supers, that kind of thing in. So how do you want to approach this? Do you want to go in? Do you want to stay out here and observe? Do you want to try and break in another way?
Gabriel will go in. I think he's different enough that he might be able to walk past him.
Yeah. The guy looks at you as you come up, and you kind of lift the hat.
Right.
And he's like, and he just kind of nods to you you can go on in.
So before I go in, before I move up, I ask the rest of them what they want to do. And we can, if you want to stay outside, we can keep in contact.
Yeah, I'm going to give Gabriel some surveillance equipment so that we can monitor from outside.
That sounds good. So is everybody else staying out here, or is anybody else going in?
I think in recent times, especially after the moment kind of that Gabriel and I had together after the first, that fight against Bolt's group and everything, I would have to imagine that the two of us have been hanging out together quite a bit, because both my personalities at this point. You know me in costume, and my normal identity. So I imagine that I at least try to walk in like right beside you. I'm not sure how that'll go over, but yeah.
One option is I will pull up my sleeve, the sleeve to that coat, and so you could, touch that and become Crystal, so we could both walk in as Crystal.
I love it. Heck yes. So yeah, I'll absolutely grab onto your arm, and basically my entire body will go Crystal, and as like yours is.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And this guy doesn't blink an eye, just kind of, waves you through, and you will go on in. Meanwhile, I imagine that Overclock and Sarah, you're parked at the nearest like food area kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm getting a smoothie.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's an Orange Julius, so it's disgusting. But that is what is here.
Right. Well, gotta maintain my cover. So
Absolutely. There's the smell of boiled hot dogs and orange juice that kind of filters through this place.
Now, see, are we mundaning it right now? Is
That's
that
the
what?
question. I'm assuming so.
yeah, I mean, I think I'm dressed as a civilian, but not as Molly. I think I've changed my hair so that it's sort of blonde and spiky, and my posture is a little bit different than Molly's. So,
Well, then
so
but Overclock, do you assume a disguise as well to disguise that so that she does not know that you are in fact Will Collier?
Yes. So I can continue to believe that she doesn't know. Yes.
Yes.
I think he does. I think Overclock. He uses the body transmogrification effect to sort of change himself around just enough, make himself, maybe a little bit heavier. Maybe instead of the faux hawk he has, he just like has sort of tasseled hair and is wearing like he can't bear to wear anything but gothy style clothes, but at least his hair is different.
Yeah. You're convinced it's a perfect disguise, right?
Yes. Obviously. Who could possibly see through this? I'm wearing glasses.
Oh, right. So Mimic, Gabriel, you two will walk down into this place, and it looks like, I mean, there's tables and chairs and bar and neon stuff like that. It looks like a place where you'd have a fight in an 80s action film. The lights to the side, and there's lots of handrails and things like that, and music around, and there are clearly hench people here. There are clearly street level vigilantes here. There are clearly low level bad guys and things here, and punk teen heroes come here as well. So you will see some of them, like Squad is one, and Hashtag is another. They tend to run in these circles, but you will see Bolt and Gray. They're not in costume, and but the door person clearly knew who they were and let them in, and you will see them walk, and they head down to a table. In everything here is a dark corner, but one of the dark corners of this place, and you will see them go over this table where there's a guy, full face mask, black costume with sort of red like streaks along the side that kind of run down, and there's a woman that's with him, also full mask, hair kind of tied back. She's got kind of like attack armor kind of outfit on, and Gray and Bolt sit down with them like they know them and are clearly going to have a conversation with them.
So I think that Sarah probably gave us some surveillance equipment, and I'm gonna walk up to the. I assume that there's like a punk waitress that's got to drop off something to drink for these 4 people.
What do you want?
Yeah, I assume it's just a waitress going through the bar, and I just say something to her to distract her a little bit, and allow Mimic to put the surveillance equipment, attach it to the bottle or the water or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that this is actually going to be this is surveillance equipment that you've built here to be undetectable and to extend your senses. That is correct, Sarah?
yeah, I mean, it's not super undetectable, but
Okay.
it's
Well, we'll find out if you could unleash your powers.
Okay, let's see. Unleash is
Freak.
freak. Okay, so that's a -1. Ooh, that becomes a 6.
It becomes a 6. Well, you do have 2 team in the team pool.
Yeah, so why don't we spend one from the team?
Yeah, all right. I'll spend 1 from the team. That sounds good.
So the team pool becomes 1, and how is it that you how is it that you help?
Oh, so basically, I see that Mimic is kind of putting this like little transmitter next to a bottle, and the waitress is just completely not interested in talking to me. And the distraction's almost over, and that's whenever I reach out and I kind of grab her by the arm. She jerks away, giving Mimic the break to be able to put that in place.
And she says, "Don't touch the merchandise."
Yeah, and I think this is going to have an unstable or temporary effect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But this bar, the bartender this waitress will go over and will put this down at the table, and you will pick up a few snippets of the conversation. And Bolt says, "You can really show me all that? You can show me how to do all that?" And the guy in the mask says, "Yeah, I can show you exactly how to do that. I can show you what you need to do. I can show you how to unlock your potential. I can tell you who you are going to need to take down. I can do all that for you. For both of you. All we need is we've got to get together. And we've got to take out this overclock guy." And Bolt's like, yeah, no. He's not a problem. He's not a threat. And the guy goes, "Shut up. I know what he and his teammates did to you. I know how angry you are. I know how angry both of you are. Don't pretend like this is going to be a walk in the park." He's got Sarah Sparks with her, and she's nastier than any of you know. And the gray who's with Bolt kind of stays quiet, but you see her nodding like maybe there's some kind of mental communication going on as well. And Bolt says, "So what do you want to do? How do you want to do this?" Goes, "We got to get Overclock away from the rest of them. Got to get him isolated, and then we take him out. We hand him off, and everything is fine." And Bolt says, "Do we get to kill him?" And that's where the communication kind of cuts off for the moment. So you definitely hear that loud and clear, everybody.
Right, and and I'm talking to Gabriel and Mimic. The surveillance device just cut out. Do you think they spotted you?
It doesn't appear so. I assume that all of the interference with all the supers in here is what caused the device to short. But I don't think they've noticed anything unusual here yet.
All right, keep an eye on them. Give a shout if you need us to come in, and and we need to figure out where to set up Overclock as bait.
So obviously we can't do anything here now. Do you want to jump them as they leave?
No, I think we want to let them think that their plan is succeeding. I think we want to set them up so that we're fighting them on our turf.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. Do you need anything else from us while we're in here? Otherwise, I think we can leave.
Just keep an eye on them. See if you can identify who it is they're talking to.
Good idea. So we will, whenever they split up, we will try to follow the two strangers, and you can follow Bolt and his friend back, the Gray Lady.
Okay.
Mimic, you're in here. The Gabriel and Sarah having this conversation. The thing comes out. Do you want to try to pierce the mask?
Let's see. Can I pierce the mask, or is it more an assess the situation in this kind of context, since I'm not directly interacting with them? I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, so I mean, I'm fine either way. I mean, if your intent is to figure out who these people are, that's pierce the mask. If you want to get a better read on the situation, then I think that's to assess the situation. There are a couple ways to read that.
No, I think it's more. I think it's pierce the mask probably then. Yeah, okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's see. Yeah, I'm imagining it kind of being like just trying to figure out how dangerous Mimic wants to play this.
Should play it full dangerous.
I know. I'm like
losing money not doing that.
Okay. So CD little quiet, dark corner. I'm thinking, okay, they probably won't notice like they did in the last, place, if I, peek my head out. Even, I don't have to like peek my entire head out. I can just kind of like poke an ear through a wall and have it peek out nearby or something to hear a little more, to get an idea of what's going on there. Yeah. So I'm imagining like just an ear popping out of like the wall in the shadows or something, just listening a little closer as I like lean up against the, using my impossible mobility there. So let's see if I can do this.
Roll with mundane.
Let's do. That is a 7.
That is 7. So you get to pierce the mask there. What is it going to do?
Let's see.
I will also add to that. Who are you? Is a reasonable question as well.
Yeah, that's really all I'm trying to go for. I was trying to figure out how to twist one of the other ones into that. So,
who do you want to know, the guy or the girl?
Was it the guy or the girl that did most of the talking?
The guy.
I think it would be most reasonable to start with there. Just would make the most sense.
All right.
Yeah,
that's bold. Older, deeper voiced.
Future Bolt. Okay,
that is Bolt.
All right,
and you suspect that that's probably Future Gray sitting next to him.
Okay, yeah. So I think I'm going to pull my ear back out of the. Oh, sorry, what?
That also means you don't know how much they know about what happens now.
Yeah. So I think what Gabriel would notice is me kind of like pull my head away from the, seat where I'd been kind of sticking my ear through it. And I think I may say something over the comms like, complication. This has just got a little more intense than we thought it was going to be. They're talking to Future Bolt and possibly Future, this is an older version of Bolt. What's Sarah, do you have any idea what's going on here? This is like, what could they know? They might know so much.
Calm down. The fact that we know that it's Future Bolt means that we can randomize our actions so that they can't predict what we're about to do. Because now we know that they know that we know.
But what if that's what we did last time?
A quantum. We can take advantage of the temporal anomalies that are affecting overclock. They can't know exactly what we're going to do because the timeline is in a state of flux. So as long as we stay near overclock, they can't predict our actions perfectly.
Overclock. There's Sarah talking about it like you have some control over your temporal thing. Talking about it like that is not a disaster waiting to happen. How do you feel about that?
That's probably the first time I think he's ever thought about it having any sort of really positive effects. So he kind of feels good, but like this is also like poking at his guilty condition as well. Like, oh, so this is more stuff that's my fault. He's conflicted again.
Okay. So I think that we have to figure out what Mimic and Gabriel do then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling them to pull out of the bar. I think.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Mimic wouldn't fight that urging at this point, so it should be ready to walk out, still maintaining mostly crystalline form at this point.
Right. And if they got out undetected the first time this happened, then they'll get out undetected the first time this happens.
You two will head out and leave the bar. You know, that smell of old stale cigarette smoke from this place because they got grandfathered in, and head back on up and out over to the cloying scent of Orange Julius.
All right. So Future Bolt said that the plan was to separate Overclock from the team. That means that they're not going to attack until the team is together, which means as long as we stay separated, we know that they haven't found us yet.
Okay.
Now, Will Overclock looks over and says, "I know what you were saying about basically taking advantage of the temporal stuff that seems to be happening around me. I can't control most of that. That just seems to be some sort of side effect of the speed and the technology. So the stuff that's happening. Exactly. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. I don't know exactly how that stuff is going to operate from minute to minute, hour to hour, week to week, or some other tachyonic unit that I don't understand.
Wow, you're expressing the fact that you don't exactly have control over this. How dangerous this is. Could I have you mark your doom track?
Yes. Yes. I think that fills another box, so I have to pick a doom sign.
Yes, you do.
Sweet.
Gabriel says, I can think of two potential plans. The first is, can Overclock create a fake Overclock? Something that would fool them so they wouldn't know that one of them isn't him. And then the other question is what happens if Mimic tries to mimic Overclocks?
Well, Mimic changes substance. That's an interesting
Yeah. I don't know if I change body form for the most part. I think it's mostly just substance changing.
So you might change into the elements that the nanites are, but not necessarily change into nanites.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So what do you think?
Right. And I think the best place to have the showdown, I think, is back at the school in one of the training rooms, because we can program it in advance to give us an advantageous environment. And
as long as we do it after hours, it wouldn't endanger anyone. And
exactly.
It also brings up memories of where the confrontation with Bolt happened before.
Right. And if we put our training session on, if we sign up for the training session in advance, then Bolt will be able to find out where we are, and that will be the natural time for him to strike. I think psychologically he won't be able to resist trying to take you down in the same place that he suffered a defeat before.
There is a certain jerkwad poetry to that.
Yes.
So is Overclock going to sign up essentially for the training by himself to draw him out, or is there something else happening with that?
I'm not sure if overclock necessarily is registered with the school, because
That's a good point.
so I think overclock got to use it last time because Gabriel is registered.
Right.
Yeah. So I can sign up. Gabriel can sign up the team, or just overclock myself, whichever the plan is.
Signing up just Gabriel and overclock might be enough to draw them out.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he certainly was told to get overclock away from the team. So if he just sees overclock and Gabriel, then he may try and take advantage of that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan, and we can do something on social media to make it look like Mimic and I are somewhere else at the time.
Oh, okay. So tell me what that looks like.
I think I hack into Bolt's Facebook feed, and I set up a timed post from one of his friends saying that he just spotted Mimic and Sarah Sparks fighting La Espada over in Centennial Park, and like I repurposed some of the video I picked up from our last fight.
Oh, that's very clever. I like that. Yeah. So I think to carry out that deception is, again, I think we're unleashing your powers.
And it's again. Oh, and I get a 9.
You get a 9.
Yeah.
So mark a condition, or the GM tells you how the effect is unstable or temporary.
I mean, you know what? I don't actually care if this one is temporary.
Okay.
Because we're only trying to trick him for a few minutes.
Okay. So we cut to Overclock and Gabriel in the training area.
So on the way to the training area, I think that Sarah Sparks has reprogrammed some of the stuff to our advantage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So whenever Overclock and I are headed towards the training area, Gabriel turns to Overclock and says, "Your temporal anomalies may mask any plans from anyone else, and Sarah would have or has already made these plans. Why don't you randomly alter some of the programming to mask what would have happened with future Bolt?"
Okay. I'm not nearly as good at this as Sarah is.
You don't have to be good. Just mask it. Yeah.
So we'll see you consciously kind of reaching into the time stream to do things differently then?
Yeah, and I think he's going to basically use the Will is not particularly great with computers, strangely enough. That's not really in his wheelhouse, but his powers let him interface with computers a lot more readily. So he's kind of using that to just sort of go in and just randomize the function. He's not there. I think there's probably like a random training scenario that's probably in there. And I think he picks a couple of those and just says randomize and then doesn't look at what they are.
There's kind of a crackle around you as you do that, kind of altering the probabilities there.
Yes. I think it's sort of like you see it. You see this. There's that same sort of like semi-electrical distortion you might see when he charges his burn.
Absolutely. Gabriel, you will hear David. See David.
And I think while Overclock is accessing the random system, I'll say, "Yes, David, I am reporting now. This is what has happened."
Overclock needs to be neutralized. Needs to be put in harm's way and neutralized. It's not necessary for you to take direct action, but it is important that Maybe neutralized to bring stability. We have been told to tell you that.
Explain why? Because that doesn't make sense.
Are you questioning your orders?
I'm trying to understand the orders.
You will neutralize overclock to reduce and mitigate temporal disruption in that zone.
By neutralize, you are saying make sure that there are no more temporal anomalies.
Kill or destroy overclock's powers. Either one will suffice.
And I'll end the transmission with overclock, or with David.
Okay. So, how do you feel about that?
Very conflicted, very unsure. Because I see a lot of myself in David, or in overclock.
Mm-hmm.
And if David could turn on overclock, he could turn on me. And it makes me realize that the one thing I thought that was safe, with my parents abandoning me a little bit, I thought David was safe. Now David isn't safe.
Absolutely. Could I have your roll take a powerful blow?
Sure. I rolled a 8, and I think I have a condition.
Yep. So you're at a 9, so you get to choose one from the 7 to 9 list.
So I think the first choice makes the most sense. So this is lash out verbally, provoke a teammate to foolhardy action, or take advantage of my influence to inflict a condition. So I think that I've already convinced Overclock to take a foolhardy action and interfere with Sarah's plan. And let's see, lash out verbally. So I think that whenever I come back from communicating with David, and whenever Overclock finishes his randomization stuff, Gabriel kind of turns to Overclock and says, "Did you do it well? Did you did you get into the system well?"
And Overclock sort of just takes a step back, blinks. I mean, you can't see him blink, but he's motionless for a second or two. He says, "I think I did."
That's not good enough. Are you sure?
He looks at the readout and says, "Yeah, it's in there. It's randomized. It's just cycling through."
It better be, because without that, we might all be lost. We're depending on you.
Oh shit!
So here's a question: are you provoking him, or are you inflicting a condition with your influence? You muted in some way.
Oh yeah, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, intentionally, all I was trying to do was lash out at him to show my doubt and my uncertainty, and taking that out on him. Do I have influence on him?
Yes, you do.
Yes, I think that I'm going to assert influence on Overclock, and that would push his.
Well, what you do is with that particular move, when you do that, you essentially use your influence to inflict a condition on them.
Let's see.
I think that's probably going to end up being secure or insecure. I think.
Okay.
Because you're questioning his ability. So.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay. And we'll see that as you're shaken a little bit by that, Overclock. Even as you head down, can maybe look back at the console.
He keeps like glancing back over his shoulder at it, just like he forgot his keys on a countertop somewhere. Like,
now, Mimic and Sarah, you're far enough away to make sure that nobody can spot you, nobody can scan for you, that kind of thing, so you can move in quickly. Are you concealed in some special way? Are you in a classroom? What does that look like?
I think we're waiting in an adjacent module. You remember the last time when we confronted Bolt's team, we opened up the wall between us. So it's like that. We're ready as soon as Bolt makes his move. We can open up the wall and join the fight.
Absolutely.
I might already actually be in the wall, like kind of just hanging out, ready to pop out at some point here.
Overclock, Gabriel, you two begin to work through your routine. Maybe tense, maybe a little bit stiff, because you're kind of play acting at this a little bit.
And I'm a little bit new to practicing after the change.
Right. Yeah, and I have made a preparation that I've prepared a video with I've prepared a file with the video surveillance we've got of him threatening to kill Overclock and the earlier footage of the team, and sort of written up a report. And I've set up a scheduled email that's going to send this out to the principal and to every college admissions board that he applied to. I'm just getting ready in case I need to apply pressure to him.
Okay. When it happens, it is sudden. It is two things happening simultaneously. Essentially, you have a pair of mentalists who can cloak themselves and a pair of speedsters. And essentially, there is that blur, and suddenly a young Bolt is grabbing Gabriel, running him to the far side of the room, even as Gray kind of appears and is doing, a telekinetic shield to contain. And these two adults, essentially the Overrun, the older version of Bolt, and Nightfall, the older version of Gray, appear, and Bolt says, "I'm going to enjoy this, but I'm also getting paid." And there's a blur. So I'm going to deal with the two people who are in the room first, and then I'm going to come to the two PCs who have to come in, okay? Overclock.
Ooh. Okay.
Two adult veteran supervillains coming in.
Okay. I think what Overclock is going to do is he is going to basically unleash his powers to basically manifest that rocket barrage again.
Okay.
Like at the two adults, just immediately, unleash that. So
you're directly engaging.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, he's trying to take them out.
If you have to concentrate your fire, who you're going after? Bolt, or not? Sorry, Overrun or Nightfall?
I think at this point, from his perspective, he thinks the psychic's probably more dangerous.
Okay.
So he's going to concentrate fire on her, because he's dealt with Bolt before. He doesn't think Bolt's going to be more of a threat, probably foolishly, but that's what he's thinking. So he is going to engage. That's going to be plus danger. Whoa, that's going to be, I think, a total of 12.
12. So directly engaging threat, roll danger. On a hit, trade blows. On a 10 plus, pick 2.
I think he's going to resist or avoid their blows.
Okay.
And he is going to create an opportunity for his allies. So he's going to basically, that's going to basically knock her off balance. And basically, as he's doing that, he's sort of like strafing around the room, try and keep some distance between them, and just peppering her with those rockets. And she's basically not taking serious hits, I don't think.
Right.
But maybe she's blocking some of them telekinetically, but it's distracting her from doing all the other sneaky stuff that she could do if she wasn't having to deflect the rockets.
And I'm gonna describe what happens to her in a second and her response, her villain move. But let me roll back a second. So when you enter battle against a dangerous foe as a team, we add 2 team to the toon pool. So that brings us to 3. Sarah, do you have influence over every other teammate?
No, I do not have influence over Mimic.
Okay. So right now we're on 3. Does everyone have the same purpose in the fight?
Yes.
I don't think so.
No.
Yes.
Because we've still got Gabriel here with some issues, right? Or do you think you are absolutely on board? Are you not at all thinking about the overclock thing, Gabriel?
So internal monologue for Gabriel is that he's trying to figure out how to burn his connection with David so that because friends come first.
Okay.
And people have proven this out. Yeah.
Interesting. In that case, I think you're actually rejecting their influence.
Okay.
So let's resolve that first.
Okay.
And then I'm going to possibly give you another team to the team pool.
And what do I roll for reject?
Straight.
Straight? Okay. I got a 4.
Okay. The words hit you hard. You're going to mark a condition.
Okay.
And I think we're going to move danger up 1 and savior down 1.
And do you pick the condition?
No, I'll let you pick the condition because I'm stealing a team from the 2 pool. So.
Okay, probably hopeless.
Okay. So we're at team 3 here. All right. So
And remember, I've got the captain move, which gives us
team 4. Thank you. So those things, you see her put up a telekinetic field there. And even as she goes flying back, you see this cloak drop that and you see she's got somebody with her. Nightfall. As Nightfall hits that, and you can see that she's got Morgan with her. And kind of clutching her, around the throat right now. So that you will see that. Gabriel, they open up these 2. Bolt goes to grab you and slam you. The telekineticist is following up behind. They're not nearly as potent as the 2 adult villains, but they are here and attacking you. What do you do?
So I think I'm going to open up my powers so that so basically absorb light and emit it so that it's kind of blinding and throws them off of their game.
Okay.
I'm not sure what move that would be.
So what that would be is technically if you're aiding somebody, if you're using that to help somebody else, that'd be, essentially using the team pool when somebody else acts. And it could be a setup for that. You could be trying to provoke them.
Is there anything along the lines of distracting them so that I can get back to where overclock is?
That's interesting here. So, I think that would be unleash your powers to get over there, and essentially to you're not directly engaging them, but you're getting over to to move away from them.
Okay.
So that seems fair. So let's have you unleash your powers.
Okay.
Roll with plus freak.
I rolled a 4. My freak is a 3, which gets me to 7.
There
But
you
I'm
go.
hopeless, which gets me to 5.
So the good news is for both this and your rejecting the influence, you got to mark potential.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Sure.
But as you do that flash of light, you kind of do that flash out. Gray kind of pulls up like the padding from the floor with her TK and kind of wraps it to block that light, and Bolt smashes you against the wall. And I need you to take a powerful blow.
Okay. Okay. I rolled a 5.
Well, that's
plus
good.
2 would be 7.
Okay, so you choose one from the 7 and 9 on take a powerful blow.
Yes. I think I'll give my ground, and the opposition gets an opportunity.
Okay, yeah. So I have definitely pinned you in that corner there right now. So you're going to let the adults deal with overclock and keep you held here. Mimic, you're in the wall. So what do you do?
See, I think I'm at this moment trying to decide. So I've seen both of these things happen kind of simultaneously.
Yeah, you see, Gabriel's got smashed in the corner by the pair of teens. Overclock is taking on the 2 adult heroes, and one of the adult heroes has this girl who we've never seen before.
Yeah, so we don't know anything about this. We said Morgan, right?
Yeah, you don't know who she is.
Okay, so I don't know anything about that. All right.
Yeah.
I think so. Overclock is like trying to keep distance from them, and has been like shooting a barrage at the older version of oh my gosh,
yeah, the mentalist, yeah.
Mentalist. Okay. I think I probably see that it looks like older Bolt is like about to try and rush him, and I think what I'm going to try and do is like sink both hands. Like I probably like pop out of the wall and sink both hands into the ground and try and like have both hands come up and grab around the older Bolt's ankles to try and like trip him up as soon as he starts to try and move.
Okay. So what do you think? Is that I mean, are you directly engaging? Are you trying to hurt them, or is it that you're just trying to keep Bolt from getting it overrun and defending him?
I think that's probably a defend would be more accurate. I think I don't. Yeah.
Perfect. Then let's have you roll with Savior.
Okay. So rolling that.
And you're crystal clear, no conditions. All the rest of your teammates are all battered up, and you are fine.
So far. Probably won't last for long. Let's see. All right. That's a 9.
That is a 9. So a 7 and 9. It costs you expose yourself to danger or escalate the situation.
Or we could spend one from the team pool.
Yeah.
To get you to 10.
Good. If someone else has a good way to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've hit the button, which is changing the program on the training room, and that's a distraction.
Excellent. So yeah, you will pull overrun off from overclock and get that locked up. You can add a team to the team pool, taking it back up to 4. You can take influence over overclock if you don't already have it.
I think I already do.
You could take it and shift his labels if you wanted.
Oh, right. I could. Let's see if I already have influence, I can shift labels. Is that the way it works? Okay, wait. No, wait. I don't have influence over overclock. Overclock has influence over me. Sorry about that.
So you can add team or take influence over overclock.
I think I'd like to add team.
Okay, so we're back up to team 4, and overrun has been pulled off by Mimic. Sarah.
All right, so I pre-programmed it to change the footing. So it's pretty stable if you're moving at normal speeds, but if you're moving at super speed, it's unstable. It's really hard to it's really hard to stay in control if you're going much faster than normal human speeds. And I've also got targeted sonics to hit the psychics programmed. And I'm going to direct the sonic specifically at the one who's holding Morgan hostage.
Okay. So that sounds to me like you are directly engaging a threat against Nightfall here.
Yeah, and I will use my superior.
Okay.
Or rather, savior, rather. Oh yeah, that's an 11.
That is an 11.
Right. So, yeah, I am definitely going to. Yeah, I'm going to take Morgan from them.
Okay.
It's enough of a distraction that I'm able to run over there, and I jump, I grab her from Nightfall before while she's still sort of disoriented, and yeah, and I'm going to resist and avoid their blows.
Okay. So you will leap over there, acrobatic, and grab Morgan, and essentially as soon as you peel that out of her arms, you'll realize that essentially it's a mental illusion that she's constructed, pulled out of Overclock's mind, and it will vanish.
Okay. All right, but we got rid of the hostage anyway, exactly. Even if there was never really a hostage.
And you will see her reel from the blow, and she will begin to kind of feel that sort of telekinetic force as she's pulling that up, and you feel the room starting to kind of give in places, like the mechanicals underneath and stuff. The whole training room is kind of, you hear the popping and crackle as she's, essentially the TK, her angry TK response is starting to tear the systems apart. Let's come back to Overclock. Mercifully, that's not your sister.
Yeah, Overclock breathes a sigh of relief. And I think what Overclock is going to do is first I'm going to charge my burn.
Okay.
So that's plus conditions marked, so that gives me a +2.
Okay.
That will be a total of 8. So I also mark a new condition, and I think he is going to mark afraid, because this is scary. That might not have been his sister, but they knew exactly where to hit him, and that's terrifying.
So what does it look when we see you do that charge up?
You basically his the exterior of his armor starts to shimmer, and you get this sort of like this sort of almost like it looks semi-electrical, but it also looks like the heat shimmer on pavement.
Okay.
Like on a hot day. So there's like an electrical charge effect that wobbles in your vision, sort of like a visual distortion effect.
Wibbly wobbly. Okay.
Yep.
So you are charging up. What are you doing, Gabriel? Kind of gotten pinned there in the corner. No one's come to your aid.
Right. I have a power called Mind of Their Own.
Okay.
Which mutates my powers whenever I can't handle the situation.
Okay.
And adds basically a new form of power to me, for the cost of a
condition.
So I think I'm going to mark guilty because I'm not following David's directions.
That's right.
And I think this form of this new power is a form of possession. So I think whenever I tried to expend the light as much as I did, something mutated and changed, and I became light. And who was it who had me wrapped up in the mattress?
It's both, Gray, the telekineticist.
Yeah. So I think I slide into, the light slides into Gray, and I want to fight her mentally for, on my own terms.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Yeah.
Does that sound like directly engage?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, that sounds right.
All
And that
right.
is plus danger.
That is plus danger.
And do I have minuses to that?
No, you do not. You're not afraid.
It's afraid? Okay. So I'll roll that. What was my danger?
Danger is 3.
I've got a 7. My danger is 3, so that's a 10.
That's a 10. So what do you want as your picks there?
I want to surprise her because I don't think this was expected or foretold. And I want to resist their blows.
So yeah, you will hit her with that, and she hasn't had anything like that. She's probably faced mentalists before. There's probably been some training regimen for that, but this is not like that. And you do knock her back and terrify her. And what she does is her villain move is when you do that is she kind of grabs you with her TK, and flings you into the other room to get you away from her. Like she's just terrified. She's back against the wall. But you don't take any damage from that. She just flings you back over there.
Perfect.
Let's come to Mimic.
All right. So I think Mimic's attention is kind of divided. Had to pick which one to go after, and went and tried to help against adult bolt, or what was it, overrun by kind of hands through the floor to trip him up. I think she sees Mimic sees what's going on over there with Gabriel, and is like, all right, it's time to help out with this. It's kind of just popping back and forth since she can move like that. I think in the comic, this is kind of one of those moments where you'd get like a couple of frames of it because it's like something that you haven't seen the character do before. So I think she's going to like kind of grab at a string that's around her neck, and you're not going to see what it is yet, but she's going to sink into the wall and then come out the ceiling right above young Bolt.
Okay.
Over there, and you're going to see what's in her hand. She's got like basically like a washer, like an iron washer on this string, and she touches it as she's falling, and her body turns into iron as she comes down to try and do like a falling like blow on Bolt.
Let's have you roll with danger.
All right, let's do it. It's 5 plus 2, I believe. 7.
7. So you get to pick one from the list.
All right, let's see. I think it's going to be. Let's see. I think I'm going to create an opportunity for Gabriel. This is going to give Gabriel some like space and opportunity to act. So I think, because I think Bolt's not expecting an attack from above here.
Let's have you roll take a powerful blow, because he does trade blows with you here as you land, and he starts doing that vibrational phasing thing even as you're kind of hitting him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have you roll take a powerful blow.
All right. It is a 7.
It's a 7, so we have to pick one.
7. I think it's going to be oh man, I'm torn on this one. I'm going to struggle past the pain and mark 2 conditions.
Okay. And he does phase through the floor. I mean, that's his response to this is he takes that hit and kind of phases through to it gives you guys some breathing room potentially for him to catch his breath before he comes back up. Mm-hmm. So does that in response. Sarah, looks like Bolt's temporarily off the battlefield. Looks like Gray is sort of wobbly over there. Nightfall has taken a couple hits, and Overrun is completely untouched.
Yeah. Okay. I think. Right. I think I'm going to go after Overrun. I'm going to set up this program. Set up this program I set up so that these random obstacles start popping up in front of him, and I'm going to try to use my dazzle fist to blind him so that he runs smack into something.
Okay. So is this you pulling your punches then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. So again, I'm rolling plus savior.
Yep.
And ooh, that's a 6. I think. Is there anybody who could? Is there any? Okay. Is there any
another person around who could assist?
Okay. You know what? I'll just be a little bit selfish here. I mean, I use my dazzle fist, and it sort of blinds overclock a little bit too, at the same time that it blinds overrun.
Does that work for you? That seem selfish enough for you, overclock?
I think so, and it makes sense because overclock's been sort of circling and a strafing thing, so there's no way to really track where he is at any point either.
Okay.
Especially if you're trying to fight a speedster at the same time. So,
sure. So you need to then move your savior up and something else down.
Okay. Yeah, so savior up, and I'll move my mundane down.
Okay. And team is at 3. So we've still got the issue of the 7 and 9. You're going to trade blows with overrun here.
Yeah, and let's see. And I think I'll create an opportunity. I think overrun is going to be disoriented for a bit, and I'm setting him up for somebody to get in a good hit on him.
That seems great. If you could roll, take a powerful blow, when I believe you have a maneuver for that.
Yes, and I can roll plus savior, which just shifted up.
Yeah.
So that is a 6, and yeah, I'm going to have to spend a team to boost that to a 7, because I do not want to be taken down hard.
How do you do that selfishly? What do you do that costs your allies?
Let's see. Where are Gabriel and Mimic at the moment?
Now, here's the thing: I don't think you can actually use team selfishly in this case, because the use of team selfishly is about moving the labels to give you what you want.
Right.
You're already at that max, so you need somebody to help you.
Okay. So, yeah, overclock. There anything you can do to help out here?
I think completely clocked.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think maybe overrun hits me hard, and I go flying past overclock, and he manages to catch me before I smash into a wall. How does that sound?
Yeah, that could work. Or I was thinking, like, if it was, since overclock was partially blinded, he accidentally like crashed in between you and overrun when he tried to hit you and interfered with that. Either one of those could work. I like the idea of overclock, like, being sort of the rescue guy, and certainly that would be his preference, but either one of those would work.
So, Sarah, what do you want to mark condition?
I think I'll mark afraid.
Okay.
Because this is the second time in 2 fights that I've really taken a hard hit, and I just barely got out of this one by the skin of my teeth.
And there's that moment where you realize you're going to be limping. Your mom's going to see you. What do you want as your pick from that? Opportunity, rally.
I think. I think getting an opportunity or opening against my attacker.
So yeah, he is certainly pissed, and he says, really, really, really always hated you. I wasn't sad when your uncle died. and he says, soon. Overclock, what do you want to do?
I think at that point, I think Overclock is since he just caught Sarah, and we've now got an opportunity open. If I'm understanding that last move correctly,
Yeah.
all right. I think he says, Sarah, and he says, Sarah, don't you think that kind of shit deserves a real solid kick in the fucking head?
And I say, you hit him high, I'll hit him low. Let's go in together.
Okay, and I think Overclock. I'm going to spend 2 of my burn first off to do my overcharge flare.
Okay,
and that gives me a 10+ to unleash my powers. And what Overclock is going to do is he's going to flare that temporal distortion effect to where it makes it so that time distorts for overrun, so that his super speed is way less effective than it should be on getting the hell out of the way of this. Because we're too, at least Sarah's like normal human speed. Overclock's super fast, but since they're cooperating, it would normally be easy for him to avoid at least one of us. But because that temporal distortion effect's happening, it's super hard for him.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have battered him around. You've gotten him in place. You do that. And then you're gonna hit him.
Yeah, now I'm gonna try to directly engage a threat, which I suffer a -2 for. Because
you do. You got a danger of 2. Got that -2, so 0.
Straight up roll. Here we go.
Team in the team pool.
Ooh, and that is a 5. So there's no way to help that.
Well, it would take 2 people to help you.
Right, and I'm already helping by coordinating my attack.
It's one team.
My attack.
Who else can help here?
I can do that. So Gabriel, you see this flash of light, and since Bolt has slid down into the floor, you see this flash of light as that streams straight towards Overrun, and it barrels into him, and it becomes like solid, almost like a hammer.
Awesome. So you got a 7 to 9 there, Overclock. Tell you what I'm going to do. Here's my offer. This is a GM, mucking with the rules thing here.
Gotcha.
I will let you, because of all the setup that you did, I will let you deal 2 conditions to him to take him out. But you have to roll take a powerful blow.
I think that is something Overclock will do gladly.
Absolutely. Tell me what that looks like when you clock him. You've lowered the time down. He's gotten hit by Gabriel. You've set him up. He's off balance from the martial arts. What does it look like when you land that?
I think as he's like staggering forward after Sarah clips him, and he gets smashed forward even further by Gabriel's hammer blow, I think Overclock basically takes advantage of the temporal distortion and his super speed, and he just double-fisted pile drives him straight through the freaking wall. But he goes through the wall with him, and that's where he gets the powerful blow. Like he's going through the wall at full speed.
Go ahead and roll. Take a powerful blow.
Okay, I've got let's see how many conditions now. I think 3. Yep. So this will be my 12. No, it's a 7, even with the +3.
Even with the +3, so choose one.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. If I mark the 2 conditions to struggle past the pain, does that automatically take me out?
I don't think it takes you out. I think it would take you out when you have to mark another condition, is my recollection of it. But you are in a terrible shape.
Yeah, I think that basically this whole thing has done stuff to him psychologically that he does not know how to deal with. So he's marking the 2 conditions.
and you will hit him, and land, and you will see him hit the ground, and you will see Gray, still screaming from that psychic thing. Nightfall kind of stands up, maybe looks like she's going to comfort him for a second, and then you see she'll hit what you can. I mean, you will feel it, that sort of temporal recall button, and she will hit that, and she and Overrun will, feel that release of power. They're not coming back to this timeline like this, and they will flash forward. Let's come to you, Gabriel. Gray is still on the ground. Bolt is gone somewhere else. What do you want to do?
I think now is the time to. I think I turn to Sarah and I tell her now's the time to call the authorities and tell them that these people attacked us, and maybe put them in handcuffs, take them into custody.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically,
You can certainly cuff Gray.
Yeah. That's cuff Gray, and I mean, do we have a way of neutralizing her powers?
I because it's super comic, yes.
Yes. I mean, we will cuff Gray with power dampening handcuffs.
Or if she's unconscious, she can't get into our brains, right? So, or
yeah,
right.
So
Right.
Bolt is gone.
Right.
But you can handcuff and neutralize Gray and call for the authorities.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of damage to the school here, but you've got it recorded. Do you release all that stuff about them?
I send Bolt an email with the various files attached, and I tell him that if he doesn't turn himself into police headquarters within the next 3 hours, it's going out to, I mean, like as I said, to the police and the principal and to all the college admissions boards.
And he will do that, and surprisingly, he doesn't turn himself in.
Okay, well, and I think he is. I think he is not getting into very many colleges this year. But. We now know why older Bolt is so pissed at Sarah.
There is that. So in the aftermath of this, I mean, the school authorities are probably first on the scene. And the principal will ask, whoever, either before the police will say, is this an internal matter? Can we, regarding Gray, is this just a bullying incident? Was this just something going on record?
I mean, I think this goes on the record. I mean, I think this is more than just an internal matter.
Okay, so you're actually turning her into the cops and all that?
Yeah. I mean, I think when you team up with your future self to murder a classmate,
that seems fair, and you guys can pull yourselves together, and you're battered, broken. I mean, this was not an easy conflict. Overclock, you certainly look worse for wear.
Yeah, but we won. We changed history. I mean, I think this calls for a triumphant celebration.
That does seem like a reasonable thing. So our team move, when you, Sarah, a moment of triumphal celebration. Let's walk through the team moves. What is your triumphal celebration move, Sarah?
When you share a triumphant celebration with someone, tell them whether you see them as an equal. If you do, give them influence over you and mark potential. If you don't, shift superior up and any other label down. And yeah, I'm proud of my team. I see them all as equals.
Okay. So you give them influence over you, which they already have, and mark potential. So who is it that you're going to have change your labels?
Well, that's so. Are we just doing one of them or all three?
I was going to walk through everybody's team moves here.
Right, but am I having all three of them change my labels or just one?
Just one. Just pick one.
Okay. Overclock.
Okay. Let's see. I think after that incident, I think Overclock is seeing you as more dangerous than you are mundane. Like you're certainly not normal, so he would shift your danger up and your mundane down.
Seems reasonable.
Gabriel, are you sharing a moment of triumphant celebration?
So I think mine is a little bit more. It's not necessarily triumphant, but I think with Overclock, I share with him my history, which I'm not sure he was aware of. That I was sent back to record history and integrate and send information back to the future. However, I tell them my contact of the future that I've been reporting to instructed me to take you out, and I did not. So my triumphant thing is ask someone what makes them proud or happy about the actions that they took, and I write a lesson based off of it. And that's it. Yeah.
So
I think that lesson is always back up your friends.
okay. I think that is a fair lesson as a takeaway there. Mimic, what is your triumphant celebration?
Yeah. So mine says, ask someone if they see you as the person wearing the mask or the person underneath, and each has a different thing. So I think this would be a moment with Gabriel at the end. Since we were kind of in that corner in this fight, and I'm like, I think I probably confide. I'm like, I'm starting to feel maybe more like Mimic than like Ali most of the time. It's like, what do you think? Like, am I, who am I? What do you see?
I think going forward, as you mature, Mimic and Ali will become one person. I think you're transitioning from Ali to Mimic, and they're becoming the same thing. I think that, game-wise, you're becoming more Mimic.
Right. So,
okay. Yeah.
Potential and clear condition, which
Awesome.
brings us to Overclock. There's no team in the team pool.
Oof. Overclock. Okay. Well, he's with Overclock's triumphal celebration move. It says when I share a triumphant celebration with someone, give them influence over you and spend one team to clear one box of your doom track, which I can't do. So, but I think as we're like after we get away from all the cops and stuff is when I'm thinking this happens, right?
Yeah.
Like we've kind of gotten to our little space, and I think Overclock's his armor that he normally keeps pristine, even if he's like had the crap get him, like he reforms that to look right. But as much of a beating as he's taken this time, psychologically as well as physically, I think the armor is looking tarnished and beat up and broken. And that thing with seeing his sister there, and that threw him off. So I think what you see Overclock do is he reaches up and he starts to look like he's going to take off the helmet, but then the helmet just sort of falls off him. And he looks at everybody and he says, "They knew about my family." That was where they went. I know they didn't actually have them there, but that's exactly where they went to go after me. I can't protect them on my own.
You aren't on your own. We're together. But he threatened my family too. He said that my uncle was in danger. I think we need to stick together. But if we do stick together, I don't think there's anything that can stop us.
So, see, was that?
I think that's vulnerability or weakness, and I think they said yes.
Okay, so
mark potential or clear one box of your Doom track.
Oh, I want. I'll take the potential.
Oh, of course.
I don't want to clear that Doom track. I worked too hard on that.
Let's do the quick end of session things, just so we get the potential labels, all that stuff. Let's do that. Sarah, closer to the team, into your own image of yourself, away from the team.
And I think I'm growing into my image of myself.
Okay.
So I'll shift superior up and mundane down.
Okay. And then what about you, Gabriel? Close to the team, image of yourself, away from the team.
Definitely closer to the team.
Okay. Who made you feel welcome?
I think I definitely feel closer to Overclock because I realized that he's more of my family than David is.
Okay. So does he already have influence over you?
You look. Yes.
Okay. So he'll shift labels and you can clear a condition or mark potential.
Okay.
What labels would you like to shift there, Overclock, for Gabriel?
I think I would shift his danger down and his savior up.
Nice.
He took a hit to help. He went against his entire reason for being here.
I think that's a perfect choice. That really fits. Mimic, closer into your image of yourself or away from the team?
I think I think Allie grew into her image of herself at this point. And I think I'm going to raise Freak and take Mundane down one.
Okay.
So I think it was a couple of things during this session that made her
everybody going
feel that way.
Mundane. Look at that. I am definitely going to hammer that nail next time. So we'll keep that in mind. Overclock, close to the team, into your image of yourself, or away from your team?
I think he's getting closer to the team. He's feeling support. Even though he took a beating, everybody stuck by him, and that means he feels like he's more of a part of this team than he might have thought before.
Who made you feel welcome?
I think it was at this time. I think it's a hard choice between Gabriel and Sarah, because Gabriel had that moment where he turned on his entire purpose to help me, but Sarah talking him up also kind of buoyed him up a little bit.
Sure. So you give influence. Did she already have it?
I think Sarah might have lost it, but Molly still had it. So I think Sarah has it again, if I'm reading things correctly. Is that right?
No, I think I already got influence back over you. I've got it marked.
Okay.
So you need to shift labels on Sarah?
Let's see.
Well, he will shift your labels, right?
Oh, no,
it's the other way around. I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah. So let's see. Ooh. This is tough. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, Will is a big, huge
Right.
mess right now, so it's
Right.
tough to figure.
Right. Right. I guess I'll shift your freak up and your savior down.
Seems reasonable.
And then you get to clear a condition or mark potential.
I think I'll clear a condition. I think I'll clear hopeless.
Okay. We will cut to a brief scene where we see what is clearly some kind of headquarters or some kind of office. There's screens around. It's kind of in dark. It has that sort of sinister look to it, of, you know, some kind of organizer moving things. And we can see multiple images of people kind of paired together, young and old. And we will cut down to the figure we see in shadows. We can't see what Syndic looks like. But we see Bolt there. She took everything away from me. She took everything away from me. And Syndic says, I know. And she's done that to others. And I will bring you more allies from the future. And that's where we will cut away from that. And that's where we will end that scene. And we will take up there next time with a lot of people figuring out how to clear conditions and doing those scenes and moves. So we will start out with that. I'm going to stop the broadcast.